Thank you very much, General, and to the entire family and staff and board of the foundation. This is a really wonderful recognition of the work of K.W. Lee, and it's a special honor, as Judge Swinton said, when we see all the other honorees that are in this room. K.W. Lee has worked for newspapers around this country for many years. We won't say how many, but he's known as, in many circles, as the father of Asian American journalism. He's won 29 awards for his journalistic work, including the Free Spirit Award from the Freedom Foundation, the Freedom Forum of Gannett. And he has covered issues like civil rights struggles, the plight of coal miners, and vote buying practices. But it's for his work investigating the innocence of Chol Soo Lee that I nominated K.W. When K.W. learned that a Korean immigrant was on death row in California because he had been convicted of a 1972 murder and later prison self-defense case resulted in a second murder conviction, he was inspired to begin investigative research. People have asked if K.W. Lee and Chol Soo Lee are related, and they are not. His newspaper didn't believe in the story right away, so K.W. spent 6 months of his own time coming to San Francisco and getting many parking tickets, doing investigative research. He'll tell you that. Until finally he presented enough information so his newspaper gave him the go-ahead to run the story. And run it he did. His articles began to appear in the Sacramento Union newspaper about what became known as the Alice in Chinatown case because of its many twists and turns and things that just didn't make sense. Ultimately, he wrote 120 articles about the case. K.W. revealed to his readers that Chol Soo's defense attorney had died shortly before the trial, and he was not given a continuance on the case. His replacement was not given much time to prepare. Forensic evidence appeared to be fabricated, and I left a DVD with Melissa, and if anyone locally wants to see it, I'm sure she'll let you see it, but it's pretty, you would probably agree that it's fabricated. And while 3 out-of-town tourists identified the suspect from a photo book and subsequent lineup, 3 others who said it was not Chol Soo were not questioned, and all in all, 6 other people were identified from these lineups and never brought in person. One of the witnesses, it came out later in court, had been one of Chol Soo's juvenile hall counselors, and so he recognized him that way, and that affected his identification. So you might wonder, what was Chol Soo doing in a photo lineup book in the first place? Well, he had minor scrapes with the law and ended up in juvenile hall when he was first came to this country from Korea. He didn't speak any English, and it was very difficult to communicate, and he was even sent to a mental hospital where the counselors found he's just a normal boy. He just can't communicate with the people in school, and because of that, he was sent to this mental ward. So in response to K.W.'s articles, members of the Korean American and later the broader Asian American community began to support Chol Soo throughout the country. This was, in many ways, the first time that a broad-based Asian American movement started in support of a single cause. These efforts resulted in a judge reviewing the case and overturning the first Chinatown conviction. But unfortunately, when Chol Soo had been in prison for the first case, he was attacked by a neo-Nazi prison member and killed the other man in self-defense. Later, when he was on trial for this prison case, his first case had been overturned. But the jury in the prison case was not told that his conviction has been overturned, so as far as they knew, he was this convicted killer. I don't know, maybe the judge can help me why this knowledge would not be allowed to come out in court. It's just wrong. So this jury subsequently convicted Chol Soo of the prison murder case. So in California at the time, that carried 2 murder convictions carried death row sentence. So fortunately, by this time there had, or shortly after, there was a lot of with the first case being overturned, there was a retrial in that case. And Chol Soo's conviction was overturned in 1982 in the Chinatown case. Eventually, he was finally released in 1983 after 10 years in prison, 8 of which were in solitary confinement. And so, in a dramatic movement that will be remembered by all of us who were there, Chol Soo was able to walk out of prison and to see his mother to be with his mother for the first time in 10 years. And so now Chol Soo's working on a book with K.W. Lee, and it's wonderful. The timetable is next spring. Chol Soo has written 500 pages in longhand, and an army of students are transcribing that and other work. And he speaks about his experiences with groups and to on college campuses, including to the program that I work with, which works with at-risk youth who many of whom have been in the juvenile justice system themselves. And Chol Soo's words are able to, and many of our students' words, really affect them because they don't want to go to the same place. So I'm happy that Chol Soo is here tonight. Maybe we could wave Chol Soo. So I'm happy to say that KW's articles not only resulted in the sparing of an innocent man's life, but a re-examination of how cross-cultural photo and lineup identification must be called into question. I'm very proud to introduce K.W. Lee.